All right, my next guest has been named to the Time 100 Most Influential Rising Stars list. He's the great Florida Congressman from the great state of Florida, Mr. Byron Donalds. Welcome, Congressman. I just want to give some breaking news right now. CBS and others are reporting New York Attorney General Letitia James just indicted on fraud charges by a federal grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia on Thursday, October, that's today. Sources indicate that the charges are related to bank and mortgage fraud. There you go. Breaking a little news for you, my friend Letitia James, just indicted. Your thoughts, your first reaction?
Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. That's the first reaction I got. Number two, look, I mean, you can't do what she did, what she's accused of doing. What she's accused is lying on mortgage applications. You just can't do it. And considering the fact that she launched one of the most political and insane civil prosecutions against an American, let alone President Trump, saying that Mar-a-Lago is valued at $18 million. I mean, that's just stupid. You
Well,
reap what you sow.
the hypocrisy of it, really. And a lot of people on the left are already on social media saying, oh, this is retaliatory action by Trump. BS, it's retaliatory. If you break the law, you're going to get held accountable, especially when you do things like trying to incarcerate Trump or bankrupt Trump simply because you don't like his politics, even though he didn't break the law. They were moving laws around to try and fit a prosecution while she was actually breaking the law herself. Do we finally see a perp walk, you think?
I don't know. I'll leave that up to them. One thing I know is nobody's above the law. That's what the left told us repeatedly over the last couple of years. And so you can't defraud on a mortgage application. That's the facts. Letitia James is accused of doing that. She'll have her day in court, and we'll see how it goes.
All right. So interesting that she was indicted in a federal district court in Virginia. Speaking of Virginia, this nut job, this Attorney General candidate, Jay Jones, sent those text messages to a colleague saying that he hoped that former Republican House Speaker Todd Gilbert's children would die. Children would die. How did the Democrats continue? And Abigail Spanberger still supporting this guy. She's running for governor, still supporting this guy. I mean, did the Democrats just not have no self-awareness at all?
One, they don't have self-awareness, but it's bigger than that. They have no moral clarity. That's the problem in the Democrat Party. There's no moral clarity. I will tell you this. If there was a Republican like this, he would have been gone off the ballot long ago. That's a fact. Everybody in the party would have called for that person to go. You cannot do this. This guy, he wants to be the top cop in Virginia. Like, that's what's happening. He wants to run for attorney general, but you're the attorney general who in your private messages is actively wishing for the death of your political rival. That's crazy. But that's the Democrats. They only care about power. They really don't care about the people that they say that they care about. They're only interested in continuing the cottage industry that is the Democrat power movement. That's all they want. That's all they care about. That's why no major Democrat has called for this guy to get out of the race.
I just, guys, but the folks know I live here in Florida. I've lived down here for 4 years. I'm going on 5 years. It's just, the state's amazing. You know, you're rumored to be the leading contender for governor of Florida coming up. And the reason why I'm putting it this way, because I'm going to ask you a tough question. And I'd like just your gut reaction. So we had MTG on the other day, and she was upset that she's brought a couple of things forward, declaring, like codifying Trump's executive order that Antifa is in fact a terrorist organization, codifying the fact that if you burn the American flag, you will be committing a crime, and others. And she feels like the caucus, the Republicans, Speaker Johnson, isn't bringing it to the floor for a vote, and she can't figure out why. Would you know why?
No, I mean, look, I got bills too that he hasn't brought to the floor. There's a couple that I have which codify the president's executive orders on energy and a couple others. I wish they got a floor vote as well. I really can't speak to that. The speaker and the leadership team, they decide what goes. And there's a lot of members who are frustrated by stuff that they believe is quite simple, like the ones that MTG has, that should get a floor vote. I think they should. That's something that the leadership makes a decision on. Everybody's got to deal with it. This happens at the federal level, happens in every state legislature around the country.
But Congressman, is Mike Johnson not bringing him to the floor because he doesn't think they'll pass because there'll be some Republicans that may be exposed because they would vote against those. Is that part of the reason? By the way, as a citizen of America, not necessarily just Florida, I want to know who votes against codifying Antifa as a terrorist organization, or who votes against calling and burning the American flag a crime.
I think so. I think there's probably some concerns about what the vote mix will be on the Republican caucus. The other piece is some of these items, they got to go through the committee process in order to get a full and thorough vetting. There might be some concerns there. But this is one of the reasons why I've long since advocated for the People's House to be an open body where members can bring bills, debate bills. That doesn't mean that they're going to pass. There's an opportunity where they could be killed in committees or on the floor of the House. That's the way the process should work. But one of the major issues in all legislative processes, and this is not just DC, it's every state capital in the country, is that the leadership has always had an outsized influence on what goes to the floor, excuse me. That's a real problem and something that needs to be fixed. I think the members should be able to represent their districts, regardless if you think it's a good measure or a bad measure. I think those items should be heard.
Well, that begs the question, Congressman, do you have confidence in Speaker Johnson?
I do. I mean, look, being speaker is hard. It's not as easy as people think it is. It's a very hard job to do. You're trying to keep the various factions of the House together. I think Speaker Johnson has actually done a very good job. And he'd tell you, he and I have disagreed on issues from time to time. That's the way it works. But at the end of the day, he has really done a good job leading the Republican conference. There are disagreements all through the conference. I mean, we could sit here and talk about those ad nauseum, but it's not about the disagreements. It's about what you accomplish. And especially this year with President Trump coming back, we've been able to accomplish getting the president's agenda through Congress. Major feat with spending cuts, and I disagreed on the spending cuts. I wish there were more. That's what I advocated for, but you have to deal with the votes that are in the chamber. And so I think he's done a good job. I would like to see more. I'm quite sure Marjorie would like to see a lot more. But there's only one speaker at a time. He has to be able to try to find a way to move policy through the House of Representatives.
Do you know this issue that's bubbling up with the rural hospital situation? Pretty sure it's not right left only, where there was some funding during COVID and whatnot that assisted hospitals in rural parts of the country to meet expenses. And I understand it that in the new big beautiful bill, a lot of that money is being pulled back. Some Republicans want to see it upped in that number. They left some of the money in. They want to see it higher. Are you familiar with this bill, and do you know where it stands?
Well, what happened between when we were going through the president's agenda is that there were adjustments to waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicaid. According to GAO, there's about $50 billion every single year of waste and fraud and abuse in the Medicaid system. So what we did was go through some of the loopholes that states have been abusing to basically game the system to get more money out of the federal government. What we also did is we put together $50 billion specifically for rural hospitals, something, by the way, the Democrats want to get rid of. They want to go back to the waste, fraud, and abuse system in Medicaid, as opposed to having direct funding for those same rural hospitals. So we have a solution in place today, according to the law. Democrats want to change that because they want the old system where there were no checks and balances, and states like California, Illinois, New York could just game the system repeatedly. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not more work to do in Medicaid. I think there's a lot more work that can be done in the Medicaid system and in healthcare overall. That's something where, again, you got to have the votes and you have to have the will in order to get that through Capitol Hill and to the president's desk for signature.
Well,
so I think we're just getting started on this.
As a voting citizen of the state of the great free state in the Union, Florida, I look forward to calling you. I shouldn't say. Should I say goodbye, Governor Donalds? I better not do that yet. I had a brain freeze there. I thought it was 2026. Sorry, folks. Congressman Donalds, I don't want to put you in that position, but good to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, my friend.
We'll see you again soon. All right, folks, here it is, The Edge. Take a look at this. Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street. Watch. There's that infamous scene of you coming out of I believe the country club, and you're high.
100% accurate.
Yeah, and you see your Ferrari or Lambo, and you're trying to figure out how to get to it, and you're trying to figure out, and then you just kind of use the trees and the walls as bumpers on the way. Phenomenal scene, creative license. You say it's accurate.
No, well, the only thing that's not accurate is that it was a Mercedes, not a
just go sign up. It's at Eric Bolling, at youtube.com/@Eric Bolling the Edge. Do it. I'm watching. We'll be back. 2.5 minutes.